there we go.
All right, so we're going to talk about WordPress tonight. And you could, this right here, this web address, if you're on Twitter, just shoot that out. Just say, hey, come on and check this out. We're streaming this live. Hey! How's it going, Noble?
Finally found it. Oh, good.
Did you have to go around the whole place 3 times? Or?
I kept thinking I was going to get shot by Marine guards.
No. They're long gone. You're fine now.
It's more Irvine police that you have to worry about.
I'll give you a minute to...
I would tweet that all of my technology has been confiscated.
Oh, dude, come on here. You got my phone, my laptop.
Oh, that's easy.
Jason, did you already tweet that?
No, I haven't.
And then there's,
And I'm scared too, because it might blow up. Let's see here.
you'll have to use that code at the bottom of there.
The numbers down here, just like a huge series of numbers. These guys don't want anybody in.
That's right.
Alright, let's see here. So I'm going to Twitter this as well. So if you want to follow me, I'm Jason Tucker, just all one word, Jason Tucker on Twitter. At the end of this thing, I'll have all my contact information and everything. So I'm going to do this as well, and we'll see if we can actually get people to hop in here who neglected to drive over here and check it out.
Or are following on their iPhones because they're lost at a security gate somewhere.
Yeah. So that's tinyurl.com/OCPLive. So anyhow, so what we're going to talk about tonight is how. First, I'm going to give you a little talk about WordPress and the way that a theme is constructed, and the different components within the theme, and then we're going to instantly get into some crazy technical stuff, and I'll kind of work my way back a little bit, so it won't be as daunting as you think it may be. So here's the stuff we're going to go over tonight. So how WordPress works, we're going to talk about a really cool technology called Facebook Connect, which allows anybody who's using any of your followers or people that use Facebook can log into your WordPress and actually authenticate and be able to use your WordPress website, leave comments and all that sort of stuff. So they're not actually having to make an account on your site. Essentially, this thing makes the account for them. And then we're going to talk about how to get Twitter and WordPress to work with one another, both in and out. So you could leave a tweet off of your website, as well as have people tweet and it show up on your website. Really cool technology. And then lastly, we're going to do allowing your viewers to, pretty much take your content and push it out there, so you can share your content and that sort of thing. So what's WordPress? WordPress, open source technology, it's a content management system. So you can take data, throw it into a database, it does this all for you, and then be able to extract that information and display it onto the website. There's 2 ways you can go about it. You can do WordPress.com, which gives you very limited features, and then you have WordPress.org, which actually lets you do everything and anything you want to it. Hack it up to bits. So here's WordPress.com, and like it says up here, it's pretty much you get exactly what you need to be able to make a blog, and that's it. You can't make any customizations, can't do any changes to it. But you can customize it a tiny bit by selecting which themes you'd like to use. So think of if you have a WordPress installation already that's using WordPress.org's technology, you could select a theme, or if you had 15, 20 themes, you could pick which one you want and then be able to use that theme. What's nice about WordPress.com, if it gets hacked, you don't have to deal with it. WordPress, the company, would actually have to take care of all of that stuff. Make sure it's working, make sure you're not having any issues with it, if there's any spammers or anything like that, all that would be taken care of. And this is WordPress.org, which what you'd have to do is go onto the website, download the installation, install it onto your website, and go through a company like DreamHost or something like that to do your hosting. Or you can, if you have a web host already that supports it, you could use like a one-click installation where just click the thing and installs it and you're good to go. WordPress.com, or WordPress.org rather, can be hacked, sure. Somebody can get in there and mess with it. If you stay behind in versions, like right now we're at version 2.7, yeah, you could get hacked. Somebody can get in there and mess with it. And I'm hoping that we'll do another discussion like this where you can get yourself out of that, because I've been having to do that quite a bit now. So what makes WordPress work? Like I was saying before, you have a database. Typically you're using MySQL for the database. Pretty much what you do is you install it, it connects to it, it starts writing tables to the database. These tables, think of it like an Excel file. A bunch of information in there, columns and rows. It's going to take all the information and put it in there. And then to access that information, you use PHP. So WordPress is written in PHP. It's a programming language. And it connects to the database and allows you to pull the data from the database. And then you have CSS, which is the way that the website looks. So it's going to take that information, which I'm going to show you pretty soon here, and it's going to make it look pretty. So if you want to bold something, you want to italicize something, that's what CSS is going to do. And then you have images, which do nothing but display an image. So here's the directory structure of WordPress. You have all of the different PHP files in here that make up the website we're going to. If you want to, you can go to beta.jasontucker.us and it actually display it. So that's the WordPress theme. This is the themes directory. So within the theme directory, you have all of these different PHP files. Again, you have an images directory or folder rather. You have some CSS files which make the display nice and pretty, and everything else is PHP that connects to the database and pulls in the information. So the first thing here is the header file. And the header file is what I've highlighted up here in yellow, which shows you, what it does is it takes that little bit of information and it displays it there. So it's not the entire page, it's only that one particular area. Then you have a and that information's being displayed on like search engines and stuff. Lastly, you also have the sidebar, which is dynamically driven by hitting the database and asking it, give me all the information I want to have displayed, and that's using widgets. So each one of these pieces would be a widget. Or what it would do is it would be displaying actual PHP code in there that would display each one of those things. So if you wanted to, you can go in there and grab this content from here, from the widget, and hard code it into that file. So there's two different ways of going about it. In a later tutorial like this, I'm going to explain how that part works. And then I'm going to go through all the files here that actually make this area be displayed. Index.php is the entire page, and what it mainly focuses on is this particular area. So what happens is index.php loads up. It loads up the header file, or rather includes the header file, includes the sidebar, includes the footer, and displays everything all at once. You have single.php, which is a single posting. where you would you went and clicked on this head file or this head of the I guess it'd be the headline of that particular posting. It would load up only that post with the comments below it. Then you have archive, which all this stuff shows up only in that one area. And this is the search, archives, and all the information gets displayed in that one spot. Let me go back here one.
Actually, I don't understand, the specifics of it, but it's pretty clear as to,
It's components. So this whole thing is
Yeah.
componentized, and
I mean,
pull this in a little
Those
spot.
are files that you would never be able to hand edit, right?
You could actually
You
go in.
could.
No, anyone could actually go in there and hand
Oh, really?
edit it. Yeah, if you go into the WordPress, the WordPress installation, over on the left-hand side, there's this thing that says Appearance. If you click on that and click on the theme editor, you have a nice little theme editor. It's all in PHP, and you have to know how to write PHP in order to edit it. So it can be done. It's just, can Bill do it? I don't know.
Okay.
Jason can.
Yeah. All right, now we're going to go through the Facebook Connect stuff. This is going to kind of jump ahead in technology here, and kind of the terms that we're going to be throwing at you is going to kind of go over your head a little bit, but that's okay. It's always good to know what you're doing. You got to know how to do the math before you can actually use a calculator, and that's the way I've always have done any of these things. Is you need to know what works, even if you don't understand it. At least understand that this is what makes this happen. Now let's go hire somebody and have them do it. So you have WordPress installation. You'll need a Facebook account, and you'll need this particular plugin. Happen. There's even one that's not a plugin. It's just a couple lines of code that you can throw in there. It's not as elaborate, but this one, from what I've tested and found, 6Jumps Facebook Connect WordPress plugin is probably the best one. I spent a couple days trying to. WordPress Connect. So you can build a community. I'm going to show you on the right-hand side of the standard template that comes with WordPress. It'll show you the information for the actual community, all the people who have been on your website using Facebook Connect. You can log into the Facebook account, or log into your website using a Facebook account. You can send the comments to Facebook, straight through Facebook, from your website, straight into Facebook. And then you can also invite people from Facebook to your website. What this is essentially doing is making your website into an application. You install the Facebook application, you become a mobster, you start throwing pies at people, I don't know, whatever it is that I block most of the stuff from. But that's the stuff that you can do with this thing, is you can get people to go to your website as an application. What else is cool about it is in your tiny feed, or mini feed, I guess they call it on Facebook, you can see your little icon on the side. So it kind of gives you like a little bit more of a credibility, like, look, this is actually an application versus just some link that I threw on there. So this is kind of that will work with WordPress. What it's going to do is take your subscribers' information from Facebook and dump it into WordPress. So there's a table in WordPress called users, and all of that information just has to do with that particular user there. Facebook. So if you were to look at your profile on Facebook, up on the top on the bar there, that user ID is what gets displayed. And then what else it's going to do is the website field within WordPress would be your Facebook ID address. So that way what you can do is, there's actually, within this plugin, there's a way of displaying your community in Facebook and all of their links to get to each of their websites, which would be the Facebook site. And then what else it'll do, which is kind of cool, is it'll take their Facebook avatar and display it as like the gravatar within WordPress, which is gravatars are what WordPress uses to display the little images next to it. So if you have a newer version of a WordPress theme, it'll display the little avatar next to it. All right, here's where it gets a little technical. This is actually something that I had to dig around for a couple hours to figure out how to get this to work. But essentially what it's doing is, in the header.php file, you're going to have to make one little change in there. And you're going to have to put in this string right here. And what this does is it allows the display the avatars onto the website. It'll also make it sometimes, depending on the template, not display the little Facebook Connect icon on the corner of the site. There we go. Okay. And then the other thing you got to do is go into your footer.php file and just make sure that this is displayed. And what this does is this is a function that WordPress uses to actually display information that that the author of the plugin is trying to tie this information into. So what happens is it'll hit WordPress wp_footer, and it'll either throw some information in like JavaScript or something like that, or some other hooks, for WordPress. So if that's not in there, it's definitely not going to work. All right, so I'm going to go through the basics of installing this. Now, in WordPress, usually you could just go to since the latest 2.7, you could actually go into WordPress and do a search for the plugin and then install it. Unfortunately, the author over at Sociable, or rather 6 Jumps on Sociable, hasn't added this to the directory. So I went and showing you how to download it and display it. So you're going to download it, and then you're going to go over to WordPress, and you're going to go over to the plugins directory, or the plugins area, and you're going to tell it to browse and find that particular file, and then install it. And then here's a configuration page for Facebook Connector. So there's only like three main things that you need to worry about in here. It's the Facebook API key, the Facebook API secret, and then the automatic approval if you want to do that. So what I'm demonstrating here is this is the right-hand side is Facebook, the left-hand side is your actual website's backend for WordPress, and I'm going to show you how to copy and paste. So we're in Facebook. I put in the application's name. Like I said, this is actually a Facebook application. It's not like you're just throwing a link or something over at Facebook. You agree to it. There's the application name. There's the API key and the secret key, and then the callback URL. So I'm going to copy and paste over to there. I'm going to copy and paste over to there. And then I'm going to take my website, I'm going to take my website address. got lost here.
Is that number there?
949. 643. 2900.
And then I'm going to put my website address here, which yoursite.com or whatever, and you can stick it in the callback ID. So what the callback ID part does is when you go when you go and actually log in, it's going to take you back to that site, which is your website address. So here's what you get with using the Facebook Connect WordPress plugin. You get a widget that shows up on wherever your widgets are displayed on your theme. It's going to add the connection widget, and then you can go and configure it. And I'm showing you this right here. So you could go into widgets, find where you want to put it, place your widget. I don't know if you guys have ever worked with widgets, but this is the way you can do it. If your theme does not support widgets, there's actually a function that you can reference to have it displayed in the sidebar, like I was saying, if you wanted to hack it up a little bit. So what it's doing is it's displaying this over here on the side. This whole thing from the community right down to here where it says powered by Sociable. So what happens is when someone goes onto your website, it actually will display, and they actually log in through the Facebook Connect interface, it'll display all of your information down here, each of the people that go to your website. And then it'll also show you your username and being able to edit your profile and stuff. So this is what happens when you actually click on this Connect with Facebook. It brings up this box. And then you log in using your authentication information for your email address and then your password. And you've probably seen these before on other applications that that Facebook uses. And then what happens is it'll list your community. So you can end up, there's a setting there where you can specify how many of these you want to have displayed. You don't want to have 50, 100 of them if you want to only have a couple. You can just have the default 9. So display 9 different ones there. And then this is the cool part, is you can invite your friends to your website. Because at this point it's now an application. You're not throwing stuff at anybody, you're not giving them flowers or pizzas or whatever it is people on Facebook do. But what you can do with this is you can select the number of users and then hit the send button and they'll get an invite to your website. Then after that, you'll get this. So over on the person's Facebook page, they'll get a box like this asking them if they want to become a member of your website or not. And then when they become a member, it'll display something like this on their feed. Why isn't it showing it? Oh, after they actually click on it, then they'll take them to the website. Sorry about that. What's cool about that is they're instantly at the website instead of going back to their Facebook page or something like that. You're now sending them straight to the site. If they deny it, obviously it takes them back to Facebook. So now the person's on your site, they're authenticated, WordPress knows who they are, now they want to leave a comment on your site. So I'm just putting in, what a great test website. Now if you actually go on to beta.jasontucker.us on your computers, it'll actually show you this, leaving a comment. If you wanted to try it, click on the thing on the right hand side, get logged in to the site using your Facebook information. Then you could leave a comment as well. And what it does is, as soon as you leave a comment, it comes up with a box that says, do you want to publish the story on your Facebook profile? Well, how cool is that? Now you've actually left a comment on my website, and now you're going back to Facebook and saying, I left a comment on somebody's website. And it's also the website that I've now added myself to. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. You could just say no thanks. You could also always ask me or don't always ask me. And you can specify if you want to have it a full, short, or one-liner, like Facebook usually does. And then here's the comment. So this is the Facebook, the river of information that Facebook displays. And it tells you on this post title, I left a comment, what a great website. And now people can now comment on that. They can go look on the website, get information about, oh, I like this. Go back to Facebook if they want, leave a comment. Or if they're on their website and they leave a comment, it'll now be displayed below it. So you now have connected Facebook to your website, and you're getting people to interact with one another. I thought that was kind of cool. What do you guys think? So here's the next thing I was going to talk about is Twitter.
So Jason, just one real quick question. If you don't want to use the plugin, does Facebook give you some code that you can just drop into
Yes.
a theme?
Yes.
Okay.
So Facebook's developers wrote a JavaScript code that you just stick on I believe it's the footer file in WordPress. And I don't remember exactly. I kind of blew through it a little bit once I started having a little bit of problems with it. What you do after that is then you go into the login area and you add a little bit of code in there as well. And what it does is it gives you that box that you can then click on.
Okay.
What this does is it ties it in the ins and outs of Facebook, which I thought was cool, because being able to do comments back and forth is pretty neat. Especially if you have a really big website and you have lots of people that are going to it. It's neat because now you're getting traffic both ways. People are clicking on Facebook, goes over to it. And from what I've been reading is a lot of traffic is coming from Facebook now. People are sharing lots and lots of information on Facebook. And getting people to go back to your website is great. Especially if they look at it and say, what's that comment about? And then you can start reading more about it. Any other questions? Was that difficult, do you think?
I would sit there and listen to you talking about it, and I'd like to have the
Yes,
PowerPoint.
this PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, this will be up on the website.
I would say yes if I take you home with me.
Okay.
There will be a fee involved.
No, I agree with Bill. Conceptually, I understand it. Could I actually go in and do it? Probably
Right.
not. But
I was trying to look for a solution where you just throw it into WordPress, you hit the installation, and you're up and running. Unfortunately, that's not the case. You need to at least put the widget in there, and if you haven't worked with widgets, this might be a good time to learn how widgets work, because you just slap it in there and you're up and running.
You know, one thing I've done, not tons of it, but I've built a few WordPress themes, and one of the things that I've figured out that's easy, and I wouldn't work with this because I think it's a lot more complicated, but any of the sites that give you a badge or any of the stuff like Twitter and all that give you the snippets that you can drop into things. If you don't want to go into the code to do the editing, you can use those little text box widgets that you can stick on the right-hand side of the page, drop it in there. So for some friends who've been doing it who are just like, I don't want to touch the PHP, that seems like a pretty good way to do it. Doesn't seem like that would work well with this because you can set the header and footer file, but for certain things it's helpful just because it's kind of a no-code solution.
Well, what I did is I have 10 or 15 WordPress installations that I admin. I picked a couple of them and I started throwing this thing at it. Some templates were, the template author they didn't realize that those hooks were available for the header and for the footer. And if those don't show up, then the thing won't display properly.
So if you don't have the footer.php, if you don't have those calls and the header and the footer,
it won't work. What happens is everything else shows up in the little widget, but the actual thing for the connect button does not show up.
Gotcha.
And they did that on purpose because they want to make sure that thing actually shows up so you can click on it and it'll go through its process. Because it needs to do the pop-up for the login. Some themes will actually, I believe it's Thesis is one of the ones that's started to become pretty popular now, actually overlays it onto the site using like one of those shadow box type of situations. So you look on their website, you can kind of get some more information about the way that this works, and they've spent some time on it, so it looks like a pretty good solution to me. The one where I was telling you about with straight from Facebook, it's kind of a throw it in there and hopefully it works with your blogging solution. If it doesn't work, sorry, too bad. And the whole thing with being able to leave comments and all that stuff and have it talk back and forth just isn't available yet.
Yeah, that's a really slick solution.
Mm-hmm. So the next part is our good friend Twitter. If you don't know what Twitter is, here you go. Twitter is a microblogging application online where you can throw in 140 characters of information, and it shows up in this nice little feed here. You can display it and talk back and forth to each other and things of that nature. Anybody not use Twitter in here?
Never heard of it.
Okay.
And I don't follow him either.
I wonder, I don't
Yeah.
do it.
So this is me demonstrating what a tweet is and how to actually leave a tweet. And then there's my Twitter posted onto my site. Now that was me manually actually going in, typing this information in, and having it display. Now I'm going to show you how to automate it using WordPress and getting a WordPress plugin to go and send a tweet out for you. There's third-party services out there that will do this, where it'll scrape from your PHP or scrape from your RSS file and have it tweet for you. I don't know. I'd rather have my stuff do it versus having some third party that might just disappear because they ran out of money or something to do it. And if Twitter runs out of money, then it's not going to work at all. So we're going to go through 3 different plugins. The first one's Twitter Tools, which is old school. It's one I've been using. It works great. TweetMe is a new one that I've started using on a couple of my sites. Works pretty good. And then lastly, this one's kind of a weird little hack, but it works really cool. It's called Tweetbacks, and it's actually written by another guy that I'm going to reference at a later slide, who wrote another plugin we're going to talk about. But Twitter Tools is the first one I'm going to show you here. And this is the Twitter Tools. I've already installed it. I'm assuming that you've figured out how to install plugins since I showed you that before. But what this does is it lets you do 2 things. The first one is tweet whenever you leave a post. Blah, 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 blah. Hit the post button. It now saves it into WordPress. And then it sends a Twitter message out saying, I left a posting on my website. Click on this link to send you back. The thing I don't like about this is you can't customize the way the Twitter text is going to look. I posted I think it says new post or new blog post or something like that is the prefix, and then your text from the subject line, and then after that it's just the web address to get to the site. I wish they would just add that in there and you would be good to go. Unfortunately, they don't. And you actually have to go into the PHP file, hack it up a little bit, make some changes, and then every time it comes out the new version, go back in there and hack it up. The second thing that it does is it does a posting on your blog of all your tweets for the day. So it's a daily digest of your tweets. What's cool about that is you can specify down here the category that these tweets are going to be posted to. So it goes through the entire 24 hours and posts all of your tweets that you've done in one blog posting. You can specify the post title. You can specify if you want to do a weekly one, which is the end of the week. Here's all my tweets that I did. It seems a little redundant to me, but you can do that. You can also specify up here whether or not when it tweets, if you wanted to do it instantly or do it whenever I feel like it. So I'm going to check the box saying, yes, I want this thing to send out a tweet, and it sends it out when you post. Have any of you guys ever used Twitter Tools? Are you doing any auto blogging or auto tweeting when you post your website? Do you manually do it?
Mhm.
Okay. Is there a reason why? Is it just because you haven't figured out how this part works yet, or
I was
is
waiting for
it?
this meeting tonight.
You haven't set it up for me yet.
Okay.
My posts are all made in a row, and I go a week without making any. It's gonna be set up on a timer.
No. So what would end up happening with you is you blast out a whole bunch of posts. It's going to go out and tweet, all the way down and, you know, fill up your... So it's like you normally do, but it's actually going to do it automated.
You can do
Right.
more.
So this is the way this part works here. And this is TweetMe. Now TweetMe does everything that I just talked about. The whole idea of being able to customize it. They actually give you some really cool tokens or keywords. What do they use them? Tags, I guess. You can do specific tags using % signs in between to specify how you want the Twitter message to work. That's really cool because what you could do is you could specify the blog URL, the name of the blog if you wanted, whatever. If your blog name's really big, it's going to eat up your 140 characters that you get to work with. The post URL, it shrinks it down using tiny URL, so you don't have to really worry about that too much. You put in your username and password, but that's all it does. It doesn't do any of the digesting or anything like that. So if you wanted to do one and not the other, you probably want to stick with, you can't make these two, because what ends up happening if you have both of these installed is when you send out a tweet, it's just going to send them both up, unless you specify in the Twitter tools whatever, if you don't want it to tweet automatically. This is cool. I really like this, the idea that you can customize it. It's really neat. It'll also do some stuff where it'll send back tweets saying, if you have a new follower, hey, this is my website. I don't know if you want to do that, but that's something a lot of people are into lately. Is sending direct messages to people saying, hey, I have a website, go check it out. Here's a cool one. This is tweetbacks. What a tweetback is, think of it as a trackback in your blogging software. Trackback is you posted a link to somebody else's website. It then will reference back as a trackback saying, hey, we have a relationship here. These two posts relate somehow. In this case, I posted a link and it went and displayed it. And gives you a link back so that at the bottom of next to all of your comments, it says, here's the trackbacks, here's all the sites that are referencing this site. What a tweetback does is somebody tweets about a link that you posted. And then it'll send that information back to your website as a comment. So what's really neat about this is every 15 minutes, it's going to hit the site and say, has anybody talked about my website? And if it sees one, it then goes and leaves a comment. And you can specify whether or not you want it to be the retweets, which is a thing that a lot of people are using lately, where you're saying you're trying to retweet this, you're trying to give more credibility to this particular link. You can turn this on and off. The other thing is you can automatically approve these links. So if somebody's talked about your website, you have a very popular website, everyone's talking about it on Twitter, they're all referencing a link to your site, this thing will automatically approve them in the WordPress software. It's really cool. I definitely want you guys to install it, check it out, and see how it works for you. The cool thing about it is if you have multiple Twitter accounts, that you have these things, sending out information every time you tweet, you can tell it not to reference your own, or not to use your own tweets. Anything that I may have missed, or even any of the previous slides and solutions I came up with? Okay.
Yeah, can you start over?
Sure. On the website, you can download the video. Now, here's what happens when you actually get a tweet back. So what happens is, this is on my wife's website. This person right here, Bright Wings, she talked about, and what's cool about this is a tiny URL. So it actually went to this tiny URL, figured out what the site is, and said, oh, it's my wife's website, jentucker.us, and it says, oh, they're talking about the site, let's make it as a tweet back. And it puts it back in here, it pulls in their information, and if you actually to click this link, it would go to that status page for that tweet and display it. So now what you're doing is, anytime somebody talks about your site, you're now bringing in those comments and having them displayed in your actual WordPress installation. And here's what the actual comment looks like. So you have her avatar from Twitter. You have the link that goes back to her account, or rather her tweet. So this is the full Twitter address for that particular tweet that she said. And then she was talking about currently browsing this particular site. Talk to your website and vice versa. You're trying to get people going. Somebody can go on the website and see that this person's interesting, their comment was interesting, click on it and take them back to their Twitter account. Any questions about this? Anything that's like, wow, we got to have this. This is so cool. All right, so now we're going to talk about sharing your content. So you've gone onto a website, you like the particular posting, and you want to share it with others. You've seen where there's like these little, I think they call them ticklets or chiclets, these little buttons you can press. You click on one of them, it takes them to Facebook, you can share that link. Or you're on Twitter, you click on it, it takes you to the Twitter sharing link. There's all these different ones. Well, I'm going to show you a couple of them that will actually do that. So being able to share this stuff's great because now you're not having to go onto the websites, all these different websites, and promote your stuff. What it's doing is it's giving your users, the people, the readers of your site, the power to actually push this information out for you. So you start doing some like vanity searches on Google. And you're like, I'm going to type my website, jasontucker.us. Let's see what people are talking about. And you start finding all these different links to your site, to sites you've never been to before. Well, I'd have to go through Facebook, all these different places, and actually tell people about the latest posting I did. What you're doing is you're giving your users the ability to do that for you. So you're not having to spend extra time pushing this information out. So give them the power to do it, and they'll be able to push it out for you. Sociable is written by the guy that wrote one of the other Twitter apps. What's cool about this is all of these links are ones that you can enable and have them be displayed on every single one of the blog postings that you have. So they could click on blogosphere, for Twitter if you wanted to use those particular services too. Have any of you guys ever used one of these? Is your theme have it built in, or have you even checked any of these out? I got one head nod back there. Okay. Which one are you using?
I've gone back and forth. Right now I'm not.
Okay.
And I've played with a couple of them, and I don't know. I had mixed results of themes and style sheets and all that.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of versions ago, we just sort of gave up on it and got back to it.
So I've hard-coded mine into the theme, and then what ends up happening is I don't take notes on what I actually did to the theme. I'll load up a new theme. I'm like, oh, I'm going to try something out. Where's all my stuff? What's cool about the plugins is the plugins tie into this information. It knows where to display this stuff at in your WordPress installation, and it'll display it in there. If you mess it up, there's actually some settings down here where you can position it above the post, below the post, that sort of thing. So that's a list of all of them that this particular one supports. So what ends up happening is you go on the website, the world famous beta.jasontucker.us, and down here on the bottom here, share and enjoy, which you can specify however you want that to show up here, and then you get those little links. You click on one of them, it takes you to the site. That's it. It's like it's one click and you're in. The next one I'm going to show you, you click something, a pop-up comes up, click, 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 then you go and post it. So it really depends on how you want to do it. If you want to have just one click and you're in, or if you want to get many, many options, being able to email and post your own blog. The next one is called Share This. It's actually owned by a company called Share This. What's cool about this one is they have tracking capabilities built in. So if you were to click on one of their things to be able to go to Facebook or whatever, it tracks the number of times somebody clicks on that. So then you can get some more information from it. Unfortunately, you have to go onto their website, log in, and then check out the analytics. But it's a pretty cool solution. What you can also do is specify whether or not you want these to show up on pages and posts. So if you don't want your posts, your about page or whatever, who's going to share your about page? But if you want that on there, you can also add that in there. There's a widget for the tracking that you can put into this spot here. So that way, like I was saying before, it'll actually track all of those clicks and stuff. And then there's some settings if you want to change the way it looks using CSS for templating. You can make those changes there. So this is what this thing looks like. Go on the website, I like it, I click the share this button. And what it does is it displays these predetermined links here. You can customize this a little bit, but that's pretty much what you get. You click on Facebook, it loads up the Facebook box, and then you type in whatever information you want for sharing this. There's also the post and send email, which I'm going to show you right now. So the post part is, instead of sharing it as a link, you can actually share it as a post on Facebook, or share it as a post on MySpace or Wordpress. But they have an email address. You can actually type in the email address, your from email address, their to email address, put in the message, hit the share button, and you're now sharing. That's that. So is there any questions, comments you had about it? About any of these services? I can actually go on the website, show you guys the way this stuff works or anything. Any just general WordPress comments? I can't get this to work or whatever. Anything?
Can you go back a couple of slides to the sharing?
Sure. Which one are you wanting to see?
Well, I'm not sure. Just go back and look at
That one?
No, I think it's forward from that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is on my WordPress.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And somebody.
You've installed the plugin already. This
Okay.
little box right here shows up now.
Uh-huh.
This is the new thing that's added to your site.
Okay. And so somebody clicks on that.
This box will appear above it.
Okay.
On your
and then
site.
what?
To share this link, click here on any of these services below. If they click on Facebook, for instance,
Okay.
it'll take you to Facebook's website, and it'll say, leave some comments, whatever comment you want to do about that particular link. You hit the button, and you've now shared it into your. So that's good if you wanted to, You're talking like, for instance, you're talking about a particular baseball player. That person's really into that baseball player. They could actually click on that thing, take them to their blogging service, and then be able to blog about that particular post.
Is this a different service from the Share and Enjoy one?
Yes.
Okay, I think I kind of got them mixed up in my head, because, like, this one, it seems clearer because they have the names next to them.
Uh-huh.
I mean, like, even I only recognize half those icons. They're
Right.
readers that are like Facebook, Twitter, Gmail, that's all they know.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way to make the Share and Enjoy one kind of show, like, the names next to the icons? I know it would only work if you had, like, 3 or 4. But, you know, not have to, like, make it pop up, but just have the 3 or 4 most popular ones.
Yes, that's what's cool about this, is the Share and Enjoy one. You could specify anyone, it's like, for instance, you have a tech website. Well, Spark.com, which is like, you know, all the funny stuff
I
that's
love
online,
Spark.
you probably don't want that. But you probably would want, for instance, Dig. Well, if you have a baseball website, and your users don't really use Dig all that much, then, oh my gosh, sorry. My camera is in like demo mode or something. Okay, oh, you're watching it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's going insane. It's hilarious. It's because I don't have a tape in there, so it's in demo mode. Sorry about that. Anyhow, so you can specify which ones you want to use, and then have that you know, be displayed on there. So if you wanted every single one of these to show up, you'll end up with this block like this big on your site below each posting with all the stuff on there. And you can specify whether or not you want this thing to show up on the front page. So say if you're on the front page of your site, you want it to be nice and clean, no extra junk below each one of your postings, you can have that disappear. And when you actually go to that particular post, you know, by clicking on the header, it'll then display, you know, all of these or a couple of them or whatever. That's a really cool service, and what I like about the Share This one is that if you use Firefox, and the website isn't enabled with this particular technology, you can load up on Firefox and there's a little box you can click on and you get all of the Share This information listed there. So if you go to sharethis.com, you can get all that, the way of installing that plugin and stuff. Really, really cool plugin. I use it regardless if the site has it or not, because I'd rather use mine than the ones that they have installed. Any other questions about this stuff?
Yeah. When are we gonna put all this online?
We'll work on it.
That wasn't a very definite.
Well, we're going to put it on there right now.
Okay, okay. We'll bring the camera over there and I'll show you how to do it. Yeah, to do this, it's just log in, find the plugin, hit the button. Actually, you could do the whole thing right now if you wanted, and you'd be up and running. You want to come over and we'll do the whole demonstration on how to install one?
Okay.
All right, come on over.
Am I gonna sit there and watch you, or?
Yeah, just come over and sit here and watch me. Alright, so let me go and change my... the people on the website are hilarious. Like, it keeps
In case you don't know, my website is Jason Tucker. He's done it all. After he got it all set up and was showing me how I post something to a new show to my website, he sent me this really cool thing that had all these little
Sorry, Ron.
arrows. Okay, do this first, this second, this third.
Take care of it for you. All right. So let's zoom in a little bit here, and I'll show how this part works. All right, so we're going to go to Bob's website. And I'm going to turn off his iChat. Something's been your website.
Yeah.
All right, and we're going to go over to the WordPress admin. Let me change the resolution here real fast. All right, can you log in for me? Hi, everyone.
What a triple A.
Oops.
And we'll probably be changing your password after this as well.
Instead of dot, 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 it's dot, 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 dot,
All right, you could say no, not now. And it's wrong password. It's those Apple keyboards are a little bit different than the standard QWERTY keyboards. And no, not now. Okay, 2 strikes. One more and we're logging into one of my...
What's your birthday?
This makes great video. Nope. Somebody else want to come up? I'm doing installations live on Ustream. Come on up.
What are we installing? I was updating my plugin.
Let's see if it works. Oh, I'm so sorry.
That was
Hope
all
you
it
get me
took. I
next
just had to
time.
walk up to it.
Made it just in time.
All right, real quick here since let's see here. Go here and type in a new password. It's probably going to show. Oh, good, it's not showing up there. Good. All right, and then you want to type it in one more time? I would have got a lot of crap if I would have just left that up, right? Okay, so now we're going to go and install that plugin. So we'll go over to plugins. And it looks like we have a couple that are out of date, which is just fine. We'll update those real fast while we're here. And then we're going to upgrade this one. And one quick thing about the new version of PodPress. They just came out with the new version of PodPress. It does one thing, and it fixes the problem we're having with being able to post. So if you haven't checked it out and you ditched it for the other one, you might want to come back if you really, really liked it. And we have one more to upgrade. It looks like 2 more. But I'll show you, once we get this thing finished here, I'll show you what to do next. Where's our last one? So we'll install the, we'll actually install both of them and I'll flip-flop between the two so you can see what happens here. And we might actually even have some problems because it just depends on how the template was written. So we'll go to share this. And here's our share this plugin. And if I go over to the side here, I'll install it. We'll do the installation. And it failed. Because it looks like this is already installed on your website.
Well, you're further along than you thought you were.
I know, isn't that awesome? So we'll go back over to the website and we'll click on one of the links. And down at the very bottom, you got the share this button here. So if we were to click share this,
Whoa.
sorry. If we click share this here, you can actually see all the different links that you can select. So if we were to click on Facebook, we'll probably be logging into Bill's Facebook here in just a second.
Break it for me if you can.
So what it does is it actually goes onto the website, it pulls the photo from the first picture, or actually all the pictures from the site. And if you had more than one, you can actually click on the little next or previous buttons and be able to cycle through those photos. But you can make changes to any of this stuff. You hit the post button and it'll show up on the site. Bill, we're going to now promote Baseball History Podcast on your Facebook here.
Thanks, Bill.
So if we go back over to Bill's,
It's like adding a link, right?
it's exactly what it does. So what it does is it adds this in here, saying all the information from the blog posting automatically, and the link back to his site, and everything there. And you can even say if you like it or if you want to share it with someone else. This is all on Facebook. Be able to send a message to somebody or add to your profile yet again. So we go back over to the site, and if you wanted to, the posting, you can click the Facebook post, and it'll post it as a blog posting onto the site too. So that's the way that one works. We'll go back over here and we'll install the other one.
Can I watch from?
And we'll go and install it. There's our sociable. And this one's really popular. It has almost 200,000 downloads on this particular. We'll activate it. If we go back over to his site and hit refresh, you'll actually see both of them shown down here. So you have all these little buttons here.
Were those ones that it just?
These are ones that were built in
Okay.
installation, yeah. So you have a Dig and Spin and Delicious and Facebook and Mix and Google. So if we go back over to the site, we'll go over to the Sociables settings here. We could actually go through here and check a whole bunch of these. And if you know any of these, tell me, because I've never actually been to any one of these. So we'll turn on a bunch of these guys, just so I can show you. And you can actually move these around if you want. So if you use only a particular one, you can kind of, move them around however you want. And then if you want, you could also tell it to display it on the front page or the categories. Or if you wanted to modify the style sheet, you can change that.
So right now it's just putting them at the end of the blog post.
Correct. So if we go back over to the site and we'll hit refresh. Scroll all the way down back to the bottom. Oops, I didn't think I saved it. Let's see, where's the little save? Delete Bob. Save changes. Sorry, I'm working at a weird resolution here. And if we hit refresh, back down to the bottom, there's all your little guys.
Whoa.
which would look really confusing.
Yeah, I mean, I would rather stick to, you know, the
It's kinda
top
familiar,
10, top
actually.
15. Yeah. Back in the day, back when, you know, people were first using WordPress, they were making these little icons themselves, hard coding them into it, and having them displayed. And then, you know, people started coming up with cool ways of making this work.
So really the top 10 or 15?
I would probably do that, yeah. I mean, right
I
now,
would think like 3, 4,
Depends on how
5.
techy your audience is, too.
right.
How many are they gonna?
That's true.
So I'll show you the way that these ones work, because they work a little bit different.
Probably not very tricky.
So we'll go back to the Facebook one. This actually pushes that person all the way back to Facebook, and then, you know, you can do all of the changes here. So is there any other WordPress related stuff we want to look at?
Did that developer create anything else? Because I recognize the name.
The Von Juice one? Yeah, he's done quite a few WordPress plugins. Go back over to the plugins page. And this guy right here. Yeah, this guy's done tons of WordPress stuff. Go over to his WordPress page. Yeah, the analytics, all these different ones. So he did the Tweetbacks one, he did the Sociable one, SlideShare, all sorts of stuff. Once I find a good developer, I usually try to stick with them because they, you know,
They'll all work.
yeah, they know what the heck they're doing and they write their stuff really well. Anything else you guys want to see? Officially, I have you for another like 45 minutes. If you have any other questions or anything, I spent some time setting this up so we can start knocking out some other questions if you want.
I have one WordPress related announcement.
Sure.
So I sent out an email, I guess, a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
So in case anybody's interested, there is a new meetup group. I think they're going to meet in Long Beach, or at least the first meetup is in Long Beach. And it is called, let's see here, it's the Southern California WordPress Meetup.
Southern California WordPress Meetup. They have a website?
I don't think there's a website up yet.
Okay.
It's a woman named Fern who just set the
I do remember this.
Yeah, so, and as a matter of fact, I know there's at least a couple people, Greg is on there, Paul is on there, so there were a couple of folks from the group that look like they signed up for it. The first meeting is this Sunday at noon,
Oh,
and I think it's just kind of the get organized meeting. So
Cool.
who's interested?
Can you find it by GPS?
Yeah, so it's a good question. There's an address.
did you have trouble finding this place?
I've seen every inch of Irvine.
I think I am as well.
You've seen every inch of Irvine.
Fortunately.
You did look at the
this
blog
was
post,
located-
right?
I don't know if it was a Facebook post or whatever, but I got the name of the place, so I said, just plug it in and I
Yeah,
was
Google
like,
Maps is not so helpful.
so the
Yeah.
iPhone.
It's not complicated, every single non-moving entrance.
Why do you stop here?
I think my phone gives you the two closed gates. where it's,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly, and that's when they came out, yeah, when they came out.
Here's the food guide, we tried to get the word out to everybody coming here.
Yeah.
Do not use MapQuest, do not use Google Maps, do not
That
use
was
your
my fault for not
GPS.
checking the.
Go to our website.
Yeah, I sent another. Actually sent another posting out via Meetup.com with all the directions and stuff last night.
That just means you have to read the whole thing.
This street out here that is now called Marine Way
Yeah.
Yeah.
was actually called Perimeter Road until about 2 weeks before we moved in, and then they changed the name of it to be what it is all the way out to San Diego.
And this is just a very odd place to drive up at night.
Yes, it is. Yes. All these buildings around here are empty. They're abandoned. Well, not abandoned, I mean, they just haven't been changed into whatever they're gonna be changed into.
Yeah, that's about as far as I went on the site. Right there.
All right. Let's see here. Anything else?
Jason, I've never used WordPress, but I understand that you should be careful about the plugins and how many plugins you're adding, that they can cause a lot of problems.
Yeah, for someone who installs tons and tons of plugins, yes. I've seen them fly really, really bad. Yeah. What it really comes down to when you're doing WordPress plugins, especially just installing a ton of them, is there's a couple plugins you can install that will display like the statistics based on how long it takes for it to load up the page and stuff. You can look at those and kind of get an idea of how long it's going to take for your website to load up and what the performance hit is.
So it actually slows it down as well.
Yeah, and if you're hosted with some like, cheapy $1 web hosting per
Sure.
month type thing, yeah, they'll get really pissed at you for hitting the database 50 times just to make one page load up. And there's actually some tricks to kind of clean that up and make it a little bit faster. Not stuff that I'd want to explain tonight.
Sure.
That, and if you're not a PHP programmer, then there's no way. I would say just hire somebody, have them take a look at it and do it. But for actually like our OC Podcasters website, initially this site, we had all these little extra bits of data that make everything display on here. Like for instance, all the latest posts, that actually goes to the database. After this whole thing loads up, it hits the database and says, give me all the latest posts. So it does a whole, this is called a loop, which is something I didn't get to explain in our initial, but this is actually a loop that happens. So what it does is it goes onto the site, it goes on the database and says, give me all of the postings from top to bottom, at however many I'm specifying. So at this point, I think it's probably like 10 or something that's being displayed. So it goes through the loop and it iterates and goes all the way down and displays each one of those posts. Well, what this is doing is after that, it then comes over here and does one more iteration to display all of these. So it's performance hit because it's doing, both of them. Then if you want to do another thing, you could even have a related postings, which you see some of those. If you go through like Dreamhost, they tell you don't install that, and if you do, install like PHP Super Cache or WordPress Super Cache or something like that. So it caches the site instead of that constantly hitting the database. It just hits it whenever something major changes. If you have a huge site and you have a lot of people hitting the site, I'd definitely suggest the Super Cache or even just the basic caching. But it messes with a lot of plugins, especially stuff that does dynamic changes to the site. At that point, you might as well not even install it. The majority of the stuff that's on the site is they're just very static things, other than like this stuff's being displayed. This is being pulled from a third party, so it's not a performance hit on the site. It's actually hitting another site and pulling that widget in. Things like that. Loading with the Flickr photos and stuff. Those are all dynamic, all static off of somebody else's server. Let's see here. Let me go log into one of my sites. Some of my sites just have an insane amount of plugins installed. I've kind of gone through and figured out which plugins don't hurt one another.
do they all have a purpose, or is it kind of like when we?
Yeah, there's all the plugins that are installed on. This is for GeekFit.
Or is that like when we all discovered fun with fonts?
Yes. Exactly. And some of these I've been using for so long that I'm used to the way that they work. So I'd rather keep them than try to, or I've hard-coded some of the calls to those plugins into the theme. So if I took it out, I'd have to dig around and figure out how to get it all taken out. So if I go back over to this particular site, GeekFit. We have a couple different things a little bit different than some other sites. Like for instance, on this site here, we're displaying, once you're logged in, it actually displays a dashboard being able to write an article and that stuff. Some of the people that had writing articles on GeekFit didn't know how to log into WordPress, so I put in a little control panel type thing. Being able to display various categories and having a drop down for your archives and the recent comments. So this is a performance hit. It's hitting the database, giving you a list of all of the different comments that are being displayed, and then being able to display everybody who comes to the website was pretty important to me. So I had this huge list of all the different people that are going to the site that are registered with this service. Which, if you haven't looked at this, is My Blog Log. It's a great widget to install on your website, because if you have a My Blog Logging account, being able to see all the people that go to your website's pretty cool. And they go on the site and they go, "Oh, that's me." I've been to the website. That's cool. I've seen quite a bit of websites use that, so I thought it was a good idea. Let's see here. See, some of the sites I use share this. I've kind of looked at my Google Analytics to figure out if people have clicked on that link or not. Some sites it works really well. If you're kind of geeky minded, you don't mind clicking on something and having something appear versus just having a list of all these different links. So you really have to test it out and see what works best. If you never use Google Analytics, it's great because it gives you a list of the entire site and little things that you can highlight to figure out what people are clicking on. Anything else you guys want to discuss? WordPress-wise? Got a weird question on WordPress or something you...
I think we should add all those Facebook Connect and stuff to the iCloud site.
Okay.
Right now.
Maybe this would be for a whole new discussion, but some of the hacking that you're doing in WordPress, you're actually getting into the PHP. Is there any of it that we can do that's fairly simple without having a huge knowledge of it?
Sure. I think there.
Just the CSS, is that what it is?
Well, the CSS would be like the way that.
Just in general, playing with how things look on the page. Would that be an entirely new discussion?
Sure. With some of these elements that are being displayed are just hard coded into the file. I'm not writing these things for other people to use, so I haven't come up with like my own widget or something, because that's a lot of coding just to have something display on the site.
I'm saying like, where would we go if we wanted to just move things around, or I want this column is too wide, I just want to shrink it down.
Sure. And
probably there's somewhere in that code, if I just knew what to look for, change that number from 12 down to 8. And
well, I can.
make it smaller.
I definitely suggest backing up your site and backing up the database and backing up the whatever file you're going to be working with. With that being said, if you go in WordPress, let's see here. Go into WordPress and go over to Appearance over on the left here. And if your WordPress backend does not look like this, upgrade. You are very far behind and you've probably been hacked. So we'll go in here. This is my theme that I'm using. I'm using somebody else's theme that I've kind of modified a little bit. We'll go over to Editor. And in Editor, here's all the different theme files that are being listed here. So like I was showing you my slide, here's all the different files that make up that theme. this is that folder. So inside here, if we want to look at, for instance, sidebar, which is probably where you wanting to put some of this information. Now, mind you, sidebar, depending on the theme, if you have 2 or 3 sidebars or something like that, the author may have made sidebar 1, sidebar 2, or something. But inside the sidebar, here's all the code that's being displayed on here. So for instance, here's my search box. Wait, go back over to GeekFit. All that code right here that I highlighted is actually making just the search box display. If we scroll down some more, here's from this block right here to this block up here is displaying our phone number and everything in this box right here. So all of this is being displayed just from that block of code. So you can see I have an iTunes link here, I have a Zoom link here. Anybody actually buys those things? And there's an RSS feed, there's an RSS comments feed, voicemail, all that sort of thing. So we go back over here, you can see that. And then below that is Twitter and my photo stream and all of these things which are being pulled in over here. So you can see right here. Here's my my Flickr. Here's to be able to display the categories. And you can specify this stuff. So if you actually go into go on WordPress's website, there's great tutorials on there explaining how this stuff works. So for instance, this right here, this WP list cats. If I grab this, go over to Google, just throw it into Google. I want to know what that function does. If we go over here into this template categories, for one, I'm using an old version of it. It says it right here. It says that this, in a couple versions from now, they're probably going to dump that particular function. And they'll tell you which function you should be using. Well, the function I should be using now is WP list categories. I'm using some old stuff. So if I were to upgrade this, say, in a couple versions from now, that's the first thing that's going to break. And I have to go, oh man, why is this just being displayed? Go back on the site, look at it, oh, they removed that function. Okay, I'm going to have to change it. But then, anyhow, it gives you the information still. So it tells you, for instance, all the different switches that you can change. So for instance, I can sort by a particular column. I can sort, sort it by ascending or descending order. I can hide any of the empty categories. I could show, and they'll give you little examples down here. If you want to exclude specific categories, I could exclude those. All this stuff's in here, and you can kind of go through and figure out what do I want to change. If I want to exclude one of those categories, I could just go back into this thing here and tell it to exclude that category. Okay. So for instance, if you wanted to, like the front page of your website, it's a good example of this. Front page of your website, you don't want it to display any of your Twitter updates because you have the Twitter tools running, and you don't want to have all of those displayed on the front page. But you want them available so if they click on the categories on the side or something, which is something I actually do on my own website. And then put in the password. What you could do is there's a couple ways you could do that. There's plugins that are available. I can't remember which way I did it, but it'll be very apparent once I load this up here. that you could either use a plugin that will exclude specific posts based on their category on the front page of the site, or you can let's see here. Ultimate category excluder. Easily exclude categories from your front page. So I didn't write anything special. I just actually used another plugin to do it. So what that does is if I go over here to, anybody see it? Ultimate category excluder? Category exclusion. What this will do is I could tell it, don't display the category called or the ID for that category for Twitter, right here. So you go on my front page of my website. What ended up happening is, for me, I'm not a huge blogger. I don't blog every day like some people do. So what ends up happening is you go onto my website, and if I had that thing turned on, all of my Twitter would start showing up there, and that's all that would show up. And actually, it would start bearing my normal content that I usually have on my front page of my site. So what you can do on here is you can exclude it from the main page, exclude it from your feeds, which for that particular one, I do exclude it from my feeds. But exclude it from the archives, I have that turned off. So if you go into the archives, you can see a list of all of my Twitter postings. So it just depends on how you want this thing to display. If we go back over to what I ended up doing on my site, which is actually something Bill and I were talking about earlier today, so I can get Bill to wake up.
I'm just considering everything you're saying.
Cool, man. I appreciate that. Is on the site there's a plugin that I installed that will actually display my live stream, everything I do online that has an RSS feed. It yanks it in and displays it. So it goes on here and it just shows a list of all the different Twitters, all the different audios I've been listening to, anything like that. It just displays it all on here. Doesn't looks like my Twitters aren't showing up here. But what it'll do is that in this particular plugin, you can display everything on your site. So if you use Last.fm, all your Last.fm stuff would show up on there. Pandora, all your Pandora audio would show up on there. If you shared a bookmark in Google Reader, it'd show up in that list there. So you can have everything aggregated into one spot.
Make it easy for the stalkers, why not?
Oh yeah, it's like the ultimate stalker application. Yeah, it's great. So we go back over to plugins again here. Like for instance, on my site, I didn't want all my audio and video stuff to show up as postings, but I wanted it to show up in the feed. Well, I started to post audio every day. Well, all of my good content, I'd call it that, was getting buried because of that. So I told it, exclude the audio stuff from the main website, but on the side there was always links that take you to like all my audio postings or all my video postings. Let's see here, what else was there? I wanted to show you guys. Yeah, here's that program, the plugin I was talking about. It's Prolific. And that's the one that displays that live stream thing, yeah. Prolific just didn't sound like a cool header. Let's see here, what else was there? One of the ones I was talking about earlier was that similar posts, where it actually pulls in using tags. It figures out the tags that I have on that specific posting and tags that relate to it by searching for those tags and then pulling all that information and displaying it below each post.
On that Prolific, if you're using Last.fm, I know I see that it shows like the date and time that you listened to something, but if I'm not listening at my computer, if I listen on my iPod and then sync it up, how does Last.fm handle that?
It scrobbles it. So what happens is if you have, it's called Scrobbler, and what it does is it takes the information out. You have to install the Last.fm program on your computer or on there's a plugin for Last.fm that you can install too. Once you install that, it will scrape that information out of your iPod using a playlist, figures out what you listen to, and then throws it into Last.fm. So when you load up your player, like I plug mine in, it says, here's all the songs that you listen to on Last.fm. Do you want me to submit it? And then you go through and uncheck like all the kids songs and stuff that I listen to in the car, and then you hit the button, and then it sends it up to Last.fm.
But it'll put the correct date and time?
Yes.
It won't have it like you listen to 15 hours of
It'll look
audio
like you
and-
listen to them all at once in the stream, but it'll actually show the correct date and time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it'll do the dump and display it. What's cool about that is you can specify whether or not you want your podcast to be put in there. For someone like you, that's your bread and butter. That's the way to go.
Exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
People are always asking me,
What are you listening to?
What are you listening to? And that's the answer. That's the question I'm always answering.
So you
But
could
I don't actually want to sit and put that in
So
Twitter.
I see where you're going with this. So what you could do is you could actually go and install this thing, only set up the Last.fm part for this particular site, go onto Last.fm, scrape all of the stuff that's podcasts, and have it display on your site. So you say, here's my playlist for the day. Here's everything I listened to today. And you actually have proof that you listen to 500 podcasts a day or whatever it is you listen to. That's a good thing. And the other thing that is, there's a Scrobbler plugin where you can actually display what songs you listen to right now. But since you're not listening to them on your computer, that really wouldn't help you much.
Yeah, that won't help.
For someone like me where I'm at home, or you have a jailbroken iPhone and you have the thing constantly sending the stuff up, it's a cool way to go too. Any other stuff you guys are interested in?
What's the square root of?
No, man, I don't have anything else. All right, well, I think we're pretty much, I'll let you guys get out of here. Thank you for coming by and listening. I'll have this on the website whenever I get around to actually putting the video up.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very much.
Sorry you had to drive all over Irvine to get here. Next time you can just drive over to my house and then I'll drive you over.
That would have been easier. I think I burned up $20 of gas in the Hummer.
All right.
You should do that, just leave in your driveway?
Close.
Let's see here. Where's Prolific? Yeah, Megan, I'll show you how the Prolific thing works here.
Okay.
This thing pulls from another site. Oh, that's what it is. Yep. There used to be two different ones of these, this Prolific application. One of them lets you modify everything on your website, like specify who you're going to log in as to pull the information. But this one, Prolific, actually is a full-on web service. So you log in and you fill in all the information on their site. So it's all stored there, and then WordPress actually pulls from them and displays it all. It's like they're like an aggregator of aggregation.
So it gets an info every time you plug in like your iPod to sync?
Yeah, you would have to go on Last.fm's website.
Yeah.
There's a thing on there somewhere in the settings where it'll let you download a plugin. You download the plugin and it installs it in iTunes. I'm on a Mac, so it actually just loads up in the little bar up on the top. On a PC, I think it adds a little sidebar or something. And then once you do that, it will, as soon as you plug in your iPhone or your iPod or whatever,
Right.
it goes on there and scrapes that information out. Because what happens is every time you listen to something on your iPod, it updates the timestamp of the last time you listened to it.
Sure.
So you can actually build a smart playlist in iTunes that'll list all of the stuff that you've listened to. So it does that for you. It grabs the information, throws it up to Last.fm,
And then
scrabbles
from there,
it for you, and then it's displayed on the site. Then what you have is a third-party service, or even your RSS reader goes in there, grabs that information, and then displays it. So all this prolific company is doing the hard work for you. It gives you, if I can remember my login and password, it gets you in there, and you can specify all your logins and passwords for all the different services you use. Some of them you just specify just a username because it's openly available on an RSS feed. Other ones they're
And
they
you
have
can
a
just show that then like in a sidebar?
correct. Prolific gives you the ability to make a page where you can display it all, or a sidebar thing. And so what Megan's wanting to do is have it displayed somewhere on the site. It's really cool because especially on like normal non-podcast websites, just your dog's website or whatever, you can just stick that information on there and you can
What my
display.
dog's listening to?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty cool service. They do some really neat stuff. All right, I say we close up.
I have a question.
Yeah,
This is unrelated.
sure.
If my blog tells me that I'm not a member of this blog, what did I do wrong?
Like you're trying to log in?
I'm trying to see my stats, and I don't.
What are you using to display your stats?
I feel wrong or something.
What are you using to display your stats?
Just WordPress.com stuff.
Come to the rescue, Jason.
Yeah.
I did.
I should get out my
And
my
I
iPhone
have
and click
something
it.
different than I did.
What are we looking at?
This is telling me. This is my correct WordPress.com. So why is it wrong?
What's your username that you use to get in? And that's the
You need
username
to-
that you wait.
To AmericanNomads.com?
Want to see my
So
recording
you're logged in
screen?
right now, right?
Want to see my
And
recording
you just
screen?
click on stats. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And is this a WordPress.com website?
Yes,
or is it a WordPress
over on
website?
everybody's podcast.
So you
Anybody else
install
want
yourself
to
or
see my
someone else?
record?
That was
For
probably.
baseball history.
Now, I think I just did, so maybe it takes some time to log in.
Click on the blood stats thing one more time. The owner of the API, this is the blog stats page.
Did you?
Yeah, what, is this a plugin or something? Go over to install,
Yeah.
install plugin.
Yeah.
I use this too. This is that thing like on the dashboard where we get the stats. Yeah, so you have to put it, you should put it, yeah.
I've never used it.
And I
before.
use it on my normal site all the time.
Give it a little edit thing for it, somewhere near you. You have to give it that, let's see.
Yeah, go over to settings and what it says. Yeah, down the bottom.
Okay.
There's probably some API key that you have
That's
to
what
go to
I'm thinking, I must
WordPress.com.
have the wrong one.
Yeah, so go down below, all the way down, and then inside that settings, there should be something for stats. Maybe.
I just changed it.
Maybe not.
Oh, that's it. That one, sorry.
This one?
Yeah.
So that's where we just were.
Oh.
Yeah. Because I have that same exact same plugin.
So we're gonna just.
Stats don't seem to be terribly good.
No, they're not, but they're kind of.
They are very good. The little dynamically generated graph is kind of cool.
I like it because it shows you where, it shows all the websites. That's what I use.
It's recording a really cool blue screen. Especially since everything's running on a Mac, that's kind of weird over here.